We on? Yeah. So, hi everyone. Welcome to the first in our series of webinars, sort of designed to give you the information you need to help your business succeed online. My name's Alex. I'm the SEO manager here at Clicky, and today I'm going to be taking you through some local SEO tactics, specifically what myself and the team do on a day-to-day basis to rank websites locally. So, just to give you a bit of insight as to how this is going to be structured, I'm going to go over a short intro to local SEO, why it's important for any business with a bricks and mortar presence, the algorithms that primarily deal with local search and how they work. Then we're going to go on to basic local SEO, then we'll touch on more advanced local SEO, and then we're going to finish with a short Q&A session. If you are sort of viewing on YouTube, you'll probably see there's a chat window on the right-hand side. So feel free to post your comments and questions in there, and we'll answer them at the end. If you aren't able to do that, I've got my colleague Natalie here, and you'll be able to email her throughout the presentation with any of your questions. So her email, if you don't already have it, is natalie@clicky.co.uk. And if you just want to give her an email, and feel free to ask anything that you'd like, and I'll try and get to it at the end. Cool. So without further ado, let's dive in. So, what is local SEO? In a nutshell, it's the process of optimizing your website to appear when someone searches for your product or service in their local area. So historically, this would be searches like a product, searching for a product near me, or searching for a product in a certain location. These days, users don't necessarily need to perform searches like that to be served with local results, although people still do search like that, but that is starting to reduce. Google now serves personalized search results. So all you'll need to do is search for a product or service, and the algorithms will do the best to make sure you'll see local businesses if it's relevant. So local SEO involves making technical and content-based changes to your site to help it appear for those kinds of searches. So why should you care about local SEO? I could talk about this stuff till I'm blue in the face, and I could probably spend hours reeling off all the stats that are available on local SEO. Instead, I'm just going to go show you these three stats. In my eyes, they perfectly display the importance of local SEO. So 46% of all searches on Google are local, and I'd imagine that will just continue to increase. 66% of smartphone users are likely to purchase from companies targeting sites or apps to their location. And 50% of people that search for a business near me end up visiting a store. So it is really important that you feature in those kinds of searches. Now onto the algorithms, and potentially my favorite slide just because of that wonderful picture of a possum. So Google have multiple algorithms that run simultaneously to decide which sites are going to rank highly in their index. Most of them do have a hand in local SEO, but these two are the ones in particular that I wanted to highlight. So first up, we've got the possum algorithm. This is arguably the primary ranking algorithm for local searches, and it boosts sites based on near me type searches to ensure that the results in close proximity to users are shown. So for a while, this was good enough for Google, and then they decided to make their local algorithms a little bit more sophisticated, and along came the pigeon algorithm. So this algorithm works to bridge the gap between possum and Google's core ranking algorithm. And to make a really sweeping statement about the core ranking algorithm, if you're not familiar with it, it focuses on quality and relevance. So Pigeon makes sure that the core algorithm, so anything looking for quality and relevance, is combined with the local focus of Possum to provide really high quality local results for users. So now we're up to date on what local SEO is, why it's important, and the algorithms that control it. We're going to jump straight into how to optimize your site for local searches. The basic areas that we're going to cover are competitor analysis, keyword targeting, Google My Business, Google Posts, reviews, NAP details, and that stands for name, address, and phone number, and social profiles. So first up is competitor analysis. This should be something you perform at the beginning of any SEO campaign, and local SEO really is no different. The easiest way to start this is to compile a list of the keywords that you'd like to rank for, plus keywords related to your service or product, and start performing searches with them. And you see those results in first, second, and third place. They're the sites that you want to focus on. They're your competitors. They're the people that you need to emulate and do things better than to rank better. So analyzing a competitor site allows you to see exactly what it takes to rank for a specific keyword, and more importantly, it allows you to see what you have to be top, what you have to do to be able to rank top for that keyword. So a few things that I've noted here that you'll want to analyze are site size and depth. So the more content there is in the site, the larger the site is, the more built out it is, probably the better it is going to be able to rank. Topical relevancy. So I'll go through topical relevancy shortly. Domain age. So this is still a ranking factor. So the older a domain is, the more authority that domain tends to have associated with it, so the better it can rank. And backlink profiles. So backlinks are one of the biggest parts of SEO in any aspect. So they're something that are obviously going to factor into local SEO as well. So once you've analysed any competitor sites, it's time to start looking at keywords. So if you haven't already done so, although you really should have for a competitor analysis, you'll need to do some research into your target keywords. And at this point, it's really not good enough to make assumptions. You'll have to start picking keywords that actually receive monthly searches. So there's various tools that you can use to do this with. So we tend to use things like SEMrush and the keyword tool to be able to find how many searches a particular keyword gets per month, to make sure we're actually targeting keywords that people are looking for and that are going to drive traffic to our sites. So when you're conducting this research, I'd recommend that you start simple. You're unlikely to need any complicated keywords, so stick to a formula of something like your product or your service plus your location. And then if there's no search volume for that, I'd start to broaden the location, start to broaden the area, and start to target a little bit of a wider area than you may have initially thought you would have had to. Once you've identified your keywords, it's then time to look at how your site targets them. So as a rule, you need to select one keyword per page to target. I really advise against trying to target the same keyword with multiple pages. This can actually cause cannibalization, confuse Google over which page you want to rank for a particular keyword, and it will really hurt your ability to rank for it. So your pages should be including your target keyword or a permutation of that keyword in your title tag, your H1 tag, and your body content. And it also goes without saying that your meta description should be highly relevant to and can include your target keyword. I'd be really careful not to keyword stuff as well. Use the keyword naturally and try to use synonyms or similar keywords. What I've found in my sort of years of work in SEO is the more you try to focus on optimizing for a specific keyword, the more you stuff, the less natural it looks, and the less useful that is for a user. So that's really going to hurt your ability to rank as well. Okay, so now we're on to Google My Business. So just a few things about Google My Business. It's a free platform offered by Google, and it allows you to provide details of your businesses to users that are searching for your business. You can add links to your website, you can add click-to-call links, and you can add more. It essentially provides you with an attractive business listing in search if used properly, and it also feeds into Google Maps and the local pack to help you rank for any local terms. To sum up, it should be part of any local SEO strategy. So with that in mind, here's a few tips on how to make the most of your Google My Business profile. So number one, log in regularly and keep your details up to date. It's never more infuriating for a user than trying to contact a business and realizing the phone number's wrong or the email address is wrong or they've moved address. There's also something that people can do in terms of suggesting edits to your listing. So some people might dispute sort of a contact detail for your business or an address. And these edits can actually be put live if you leave them too long. So I would recommend staying on top of these, making sure that if somebody does suggest an edit, that you just review that. And if it is correct, approve it. If not, then make sure it doesn't get pushed through. Another one is to make sure you're including a variety of high-res images on your Google My Business listing. I personally would recommend about 5 images plus. It's only going to help users to get a bit of a better understanding of your business and what you do, and you can always add some fun stuff in there as well to build a bit of engagement. And I'd also add a description to your listing. It's a new-ish feature, and it can help your listing to stand out. The bottom line to all of this is just fill in as much detail as you can and keep your details up to date. It's really simple, really easy to do. It's really accessible. The platform's really easy to use. So please make the most of it. Up next, we've got Google Posts. So these are actually a feature of Google My Business, and I probably should have covered them in my Google My Business slide, but I feel like they warrant their own. So they allow you to add a post sort of similar to a status update on a social media site to your business listing in Google. You can have all sorts of formats of posts, so you can range from sort of standard updates. So we tend to post. We posted in this example a news update on one of the partnerships we're working on a site that's just gone live. You can have event listings as well, and you can have offers. Most posts will automatically disappear after about a week, unless they're for an event, which is more than a week in the future. That'll then stay. They have also been shown to have a small impact on local rankings, very, very, very minor, but every little helps, so I'd recommend that you use those. They're also a really useful way of communicating key info to your potential customers, and these should be something that you really are making the most of and making sure you keep up to date in your Google My Business profile. So next up, we're going to look at reviews. Reviews, again, come as part of the Google My Business listing, but they definitely deserve their own slide, just like posts. So Google likes serving up relevant, trustworthy sites to searchers, and reviews are an easy way to identify those. So it makes sense that reviews tend to be used as a ranking factor, or specifically high numbers of good reviews. Negative reviews can, have the opposite impact. So it's really important to collect as many good reviews as you can for your business on Google. But there are a couple of caveats that I would mention. So Google only encourages the ethical collection of reviews. So obviously they don't want you to pay for people to review your site positively. These should be really a conversation that you have with your customers, and you encourage them and reach out to them to give you a genuine, honest review of their experience with your company. And they can only help you to improve your product and service further as well. And it's also good to stay in control of your presence. So whether you do get positive or negative reviews, just reply to them. People like to see that you're responsive, and even if you do have negative feedback, it's important to see that from a customer's point of view, and it looks good for you as a brand as well. So next up is name, address, and phone number. So this is a fairly self-explanatory one. Just make sure that your site includes these details and they're up to date wherever they're included. And I've got a couple of tips. Again, like I said, this is a really basic tip, but ensure that your site includes the valid name, address, and phone number of your business. Make sure that the name, address, and phone number is consistent across the web as well. So that doesn't just include your site, that includes any sites that you're listed on. And then regularly check your details across the web to ensure everything's kept up to date. And the easiest way to do that is probably to just keep a record of any listings of your details that you manage, and periodically go in and check those. Again, I won't spend too much time on these, but social profiles are important. They help you to build your branded presence in search, provide you with a backlink, most of which are no follow apart from Pinterest, and they provide you with a way to share your content and connect with others. So I've only got a few tips for this one. So try and set up on profiles on as many of the main social media sites as possible. So that's things like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest. Google Plus is a useful one to have, although it's not really used that much anymore. I'd make sure that any content that you write is shared on those social profiles, and really try and use them as a conduit for sharing your content. And try and build a following with them and interact with other users or businesses to raise your profile on each site. And it'll also, if those profiles are linked to your website or your brand, and crawlers can make a connection between those two, they're going to see you as more authoritative the more that you share, and the more of a following that you have. Okay, so that's the basics out of the way. So next up, we're going to move on to some more advanced aspects of local SEO. So first up is directory listings. They're not the strongest signals in terms of local SEO, but they do provide you with a backlink and another location for crawlers to find your business details. They might not be the be-all and end-all, but they're definitely a crucial part of the overall strategy. So I've just got a few tips for setting up directory listings. So diversify. List your business in both local and national directories. Make sure the name, address, and phone number of your business is consistent across them. But one tip that I would give you is please don't duplicate any of the content that you have on those listings. Google will essentially see those as very similar listings, and it'll notice the little effort that's gone into them. So try and diversify through those. It'll give you more value in the long term. And again, regularly check your details, ensure everything's kept up to date, and keep a record of any listings that you manage. Okay, next up, just moving on from directory listing type links, are local links. So Most SEOs will tell you that backlinks are one of the most important ranking factors in Google algorithms. Local SEO doesn't really differ in this respect, but links from local websites help much more in terms of local rankings. So local links are backlinks gained from sites in the area of your business. The most common sites for this are local news outlets. So I've listed a few, for example, that are local to Cheshire. However, local businesses, authorities, and educational bodies can also provide high-quality backlinks. It's probably worth noting at this point that anything with a .edu domain will give you the most powerful link possible. So if there's a local educational governing body that has a site that's .edu in your area, I'd recommend that you try and get placed on there as well. That'll do you a lot of good. So I've just got a few tips. So most of these I've already run through, but yeah, these are a very good way of building your context locally. And I'd recommend that this is built into a core part of your local SEO strategy too. Okay, so onto topical content. Google won't only use your main landing pages when deciding where to rank you locally. It'll also look for context and relevance in the rest of your site. So this is where topical content comes in. By creating content related to the main terms you're trying to target, you're building up topical relevance and giving yourself the best chance of ranking in Google. They also provide you with extra locations at which to point backlinks to make sure that you're not over-optimizing your main pages. So I've got a few tips on how to rank topical content. Do your research, so find long-tail keywords with search volume, leverage internal links, so use them to tie your pages together and improve relevance between them. They'll also pass some authority through the pages, so if you can get backlinks to point at some of your pieces of topical content, you can then use internal links to pass that authority through to your main what's called an SEO money pages. Also, another thing to note is just try to be better than your competitors. So use your competitor analysis to create higher quality, better targeted content. Your competitor analysis is really your chance to find the benchmark for your local search queries and make sure that you're doing things as well as you can, but better than your competitors. Last on my list, but by no means least, is my own personal favorite. So that's Schema markup. So I'm not going to bore you with all the details of this, but Schema is a structured data markup language that allows you to tell crawlers what your data means rather than what it says. It annotates the data on your page to help crawlers fully understand it, and it helps them to rank your site better. The extra information that you give to crawlers using Schema markup also helps them to display your search listings in a much more attractive manner. So sometimes you'll see your listings accompanied by imagery, star ratings, and much more, and that's Schema at work in the background. It's slightly more technical than the other elements that I've run through, but it's fairly easy to implement. And Google have got a wealth of documents on different schema types and how to implement them on some of their developer web pages. So, in my opinion, every site should have as much schema on it as possible. You should be marking up as much of your data as you physically can. And here are a couple of my tips for implementing it. So, always implement your schema in JSON format. It's cleaner and easier than the HTML version. It's a little bit more lightweight, and it can be tidily put in the background of a page as well. Don't try to spam your way to the top, so never try to manipulate any of the details, especially reviews. That's something that gets manipulated quite a lot with schema to try and get more traffic. In the end, Google will find out that you're manipulating schema and you're trying to manipulate their search rankings, won't take kindly to it, and you'll probably get a message in your Search Console account someday telling you that you've been served with a manual action. So just please make that as natural as possible. And 3 really goes without saying, but create the code for your schema and test it before setting it live. It's never more frustrating than putting a piece of code live and having to revert to a previous version because you haven't actually implemented it correctly. Okay, so that's a whistle-stop tour of local SEO from me. So now we're going to move on to any Q&A that we've had. No questions. Everyone understands local SEO perfectly. I will say that if you do have any questions about this webinar or anything that we've covered, you can feel free to email natalie@clicky.co.uk. Alternatively, just shoot me a message. It's alex.wright@clicky.co.uk. Or you can get in touch with us using Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you follow us on. useful, or if there are any of our clients watching, which I believe there are a couple of them, just come straight to us. We'll be happy to help with anything that you need.